pit blade works.
Hey, what is up, you guys? This is Silver Fang, and today I'm back with another video. So today I'm going to be checking out part 3 of the Gilgamesh versus the World video. Now, in this video, they're going to be talking about Archer Heracles. I know that, as you guys told me before, they did make a little mistake in this part, but it's going to be interesting nonetheless because Archer Heracles is a powerful servant. And in my opinion, he's one of the ones that could really beat Gil. Like with Enkidu, it's kind of debatable. It could be a tie. Gil could win. It's debatable. But with this guy, I think it's a lot more clear cut. Now, as you guys know, Gilgamesh is unpredictable, and we don't know everything that is in his Gate of Babylon. So he could always keep us guessing. But with Archer Heracles, I'm gonna be interested to see what they talk about. I'm gonna give my opinions at the end. I definitely have a solid case as to why I personally think that Archer Heracles could beat Gil. But with that being said, I just gotta remind you guys, please like the video, please subscribe to the channel. It will really help me out a lot. And with that being said, let's just jump right into the video.
Oh, with that said, speaking of Strange Fake, though, there's definitely someone who, out of nowhere, can make Gil actually shit his pants, and it's a blast from his past.
Yep, he has done it before.
But in a different form.
Yeah.
It is Archer Heracles, also known as Alcides, I think you would pronounce it
really?
as.
Alcides?
It's a hard C in Greek, so it would be Alcides.
Alcides, something like that. Yeah, this guy's basically infamous, or maybe famous, across the Fate fandom as being absurdly terrifying with not only his parameters,
freaking
but the
powerful,
fact that
bro.
he actually
Just powerful,
made
man.
Gil go like, whoa,
almost
like,
shit
just
his
put his hands
pants,
up
bro.
in the air and be like, whoa, what the fuck?
Oh
For
yeah,
real.
no. I haven't read it
That
like
scene
a
was
direct
epic.
translation, but I have heard their conflict described. Nobody's ever made Gil go 0 to 60
I've
faster
never
than
seen
Alcides. I don't know it.
Gil
It's impressive.
scared
Let's break
ever.
it down. So,
Even
there's
when
an
he was
asterisk on his
facing
parameters
Time Man,
because
I never saw him
we
scared.
can't say exactly what the literal Archer class Heracles is like because Alcides is basically Herc Alter. So for those
He's
purposes, in my
an
notes,
Archer
I have not
and
necessarily
Avenger.
included some of his abilities that would be in as Alcides because technically he's like a double class with like Avenger class skills and stuff.
Yes, because he was
It's a
corrupted by
very
the mud of the
unique-
Grail on purpose.
He is an Archer who is also an Avenger, and I have, for the sake of discussion, I've tried to excise some of that. So this is a very theoretical parameter. Though once again, that's almost like one of those like situations where it's doesn't get serious. We're pretty sure Alcides could win.
Right, he definitely has the potential.
So parameters:
pretty-
strength
yeah.
A, endurance B, agility A, mana A, luck B, noble phantasm A++. Right there, you can see it. He is a high quality servant from just the raw stats.
He's an
A-level
A+
action,
servant
A-level
all
divinity,
everywhere
an
around.
A-level battle continuation, an A+ level valor, and then Eye of the Mind false for rank B, which is basically the ability to kind of like see the flow of battle. It's not like instinctual knowledge.
I'm
but, like,
assuming
training
that
to certain types of
the
reaction.
divinity part
Non-life,
is where
which
they're
ranked
wrong because
variably, like C to A+. This is
Archer
his famous ability
Heracles
to defeat
doesn't
the Hydra.
have any divinity
It's said to
due
be
to
at
being
its most
corrupted.
powerful when he has a bow, but he can technically use it with any weapon. It's basically just a technique where he attacks, and he attacks so fast and so overwhelmingly that he can bypass any form of defense. And he's an archer because that's when he originally used it.
And he
then
doesn't
there's
have God
slash,
Hand.
This is either God Hand B or King's Order C to
King's
A+,
Order is the one that he has.
because it seems like Hurt cannot both use God Hand, which is the representation of his completed 12 labors, and his being deified after death. It gives him literally 12 lives. He can use the Pelt of the Nemean Lion. He can use the Hydra's blood arrows, which is, by the way, if you've never read about what the Hydra poison is like, it's bad.
It's bad. Like,
It made
I
me
think
laugh.
it's the
No,
most powerful
no,
poison
it's
in
that bad.
the Fate burst.
So hard, Chiron was like, I can't be immortal for this. You gotta let me die. Yep.
That's crazy.
And yeah, it's just He can use the Stimpalian birds and lots of other abilities. So, honestly, I think Archer Herc would be better if he used King's Order because explicitly the pelt of the Nemean Lion blocks mundane weapons.
Which is perfect
Meaning,
for blocking maybe Gate of
yep,
Babylon.
exactly.
It would severely limit the types of tools Gil can use out of Gate of Babylon to hurt him. This isn't a spoiler because I'm pretty sure it's like right away when they meet. But Alcides straight up tells Gil, "You need to pull out your strongest weapon and use it if you want to win." He straight up says, "Give me Ea."
Literally,
Like-
literally.
Fuck you, nerd. No. So you guys can hear from this that this is Herc, one of the most famous, hugely famous, and even today, most people probably know about a lot of his labors because, hey, you know what? A lot of those zodiac constellations, those are drawn from Herc's labors, like Aquarius. God knows what noble phantasm is for that labor.
And Herc has, as you pointed out with Charon, he has touched inadvertently or on purpose quite a lot of other legendary heroes and characters.
He was an Argonaut.
Right.
Argonaut, he was one of Jason's only friends. He was taught by Chiron. He is an ancestor to several other Greek heroes. He's a big fucking deal. Okay?
He's a big deal.
And
Famous as hell,
as a
too.
servant, has the characteristics to back it up. Gil is said to be basically any class. The only class container that not qualify for is caster because there's no history of magecraft.
But it's not like
Any
he
of them.
needs it.
No, he
For
really
real.
doesn't.
He really doesn't.
And like I said, honestly, the fact that Berserker Herc has lost to Gil before, God Hand would not necessarily be a plus because Gil has all the tools he needs to kill Herc 12 different ways.
Yeah.
This is another one of those cases where, a lot like Enkidu, this is very clearly a stalemate. We still clinch this one if he wants to go all the way with Enema Elish. The question is, would he find the real deal Herc a worthy enough opponent to do it?
And we also have to keep in mind, as you pointed out, with, say, 9 lives, or really anything he can do, would Gil even be quick enough to pull out Ea before Herc could kill him?
He would have to take... This is the caveat, right? Gil would have to be serious. He would have to take
Yes.
Herc seriously enough.
He will.
Right.
Exactly.
I
Of
don't
the
know.
gate.
Herc does have one glaring weakness. That very high level of divinity means that if Gil gets him with the
Which
Enkidu
he
chain,
doesn't have because
That's
he doesn't have
probably
any
a checkmate.
divinity.
Right.
he's gonna be stuck.
It'll be deja vu all over again.
Yeah, but he has
Have we
Eye
been
of the
this place before?
Eye of the Mind fall, so who knows? He might be able to see it coming this time.
That's true. He's not a berserker this time. He has complete clarity of
Why
his
we
mind.
see that Archer Herc is the scary one because Madness Enhancement ups your parameters like crazy, but you
With
lose
an
a lot of your
agility
tactical
and-
sense.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that later when we
In
when we
Mind's
discuss
Eye,
Lancelot.
Which
Right.
is crazy. Like,
Because
this dude
that's
is
the only
freaking
reason.
powerful.
I said that's probably the main reason that Berserk Herc lost is because he just literally went on a straight line to
Right.
Gil every time.
And that's not going to work with someone like Gil, who's, yeah, he has the chains of Enkidu, he has everything from his Gate of Babylon. Especially Ea would just one-shot him.
Yeah.
He wouldn't even need the
Because
chains.
that's true because we do know that powerful enough attacks can kill multiple lives.
Right.
Yep. And Ea
That
is a
scratched
freaking
a couple of lives with
ridiculous.
one full power Excalibur.
Yeah.
Unless somebody has any final thoughts.
I'm sorry. Now I can only think of the 12 lives as like health bars.
You know what? That's not.
They pretty much are.
totally
They pretty
inaccurate
much are.
Considering how much of a nerd
They pretty much
Nasser
are.
is. I'm sure he would love that.
So I would like to point out, while we're recording this, it is immediately before the latest Nerofest in English, where there will be an exhibition match with Berserker Herc, who has 11 levels of guts.
Yes, I think there's also an infamous stage in Agartha where he basically his brother or something like that shows up, taking over Herc's body, and he also has a huge amount of guts. So
I'm so glad that FGO sometimes goes a little out of the way to give him that little tip because oh yeah, that's a lot of HP to chew through.
right, especially for somebody who can
Alrighty.
basically kill your servants in one shot.
And also who has an evade.
Right. But yeah, point is, while regular Heracles probably would not stand a chance against Gil, considering how swiftly he lost before,
Mhm.
Archer Herc, or at least this form of Herc, because again, as
Probably.
Omega pointed out, he's also part of Venger in this form, so you have to take that into account. Even so, This guy is the scary one because he actually has a brain to work with.
Exactly.
He realizes his own capabilities and probably can even figure out the capabilities of Gil just by looking at him.
Well, and also another important thing to point out
You
is
could
as an
tell how
archer,
smart he
has
was
range.
as a berserker
That's one of Gil's
when it came to combat.
primary abilities.
When he was
is the fact that
fighting
Gate of Babylon gives him
King Arthur.
crazy good ranged power. We've talked about this before. Gilgamesh is not great at close combat. Archer Herc can go the distance and can
Yes.
shoot, arrows, which will reach Gil.
Pun fully intended, by the way. But yeah, so Archer Herc is a beast. He's presented as a total beast in Strange Fake just at their first meeting. Even though it wasn't like a full-on fight, it's pretty easy to presume that he could take Gil. It's just a matter of who would get to their strongest attack first. So, moving on. Now
All right.
we're going to be
So
checking
I'm
in
gonna
some
stop this
characters
right
that
here.
are
I just want to see
very
who's
widely
next.
regarded as being able to take on Gil, but never really had the chance, at least canonically, or with any sort of certainty. And definitely the most obvious choices would be Karna and Arjuna. Which do you guys want to start with?
Let's go alphabetical. Do start with Arjuna.
You got it. We'll do
All
Arjuna
right.
first.
Mr. Arjuna.
All right, so I'm gonna stop this
hero
right
of the
here.
endeavor.
All right, so next time they're gonna be talking about Arjuna. I recently did a video on him, so if you guys haven't checked that out, please go ahead and do so. But with that being said, let's talk about Heracles, Archer Heracles. So first things first, let's get it. Let's talk about what they got wrong. First of all, divinity, they put it as rank A. With this version of Heracles, he doesn't have any divinity due to being corrupted by the Grail. So the weakness when it comes with to Enkidu and divinity, he doesn't have it. He doesn't have any divinity. Although I do gotta point out, he does have one noble phantasm within the king's orders that allows him to add divinity to his attacks to make them more powerful. But those things he only uses them if he needs to, and I don't know if it costs a lot of mana for him to activate it or not. But for example, crazy thought here. So let's say he's using it to make his attack more powerful. All of a sudden he gets caught by the chains of heaven. He can just turn it off. Presumably, he could just turn it off. And I also, one thing I'm not clear of, I don't know if that only adds divinity to the attacks or to Heracles himself. I'm not sure. But if it's only to the attacks, then that's a plus, because while making his attacks more powerful, he doesn't have the weakness of having divinity himself. So that weakness when it comes to Enkidu is out the window. The next thing that I want to talk about is his other noble phantasm. One that is also included within the king's order. And this is the noble phantasm that allows him to pretty much use the pelt of the enemy in line. And what this does is it pretty much nullifies all human-made weapons. All human-made weapons are nullified. So from what we've seen from Gil, the only option at his disposal at this point would be Ea. So now, with Eye of the Mind and freaking Heracles being a seasoned warrior, an A rank Eye of the Mind, would he allow Gil to fire Ea? Because remember, nothing in Gil's arsenal can stop this guy. Like, no weapons. Plus, he has battle continuation. So even if Gil finds some sort of way to injure him without using Ea, like, this guy can just continue on fighting. Now, the thing is, right? Can he tank Ea, or can he counter Ea? I'm not too sure about that. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure he can tank it, and I'm not sure if he can counter it. But this is the kicker, and this is where the overkill comes in, right? So Heracles has a noble phantasm called Reincarnation of Pandora. And what this does is that allows him to steal a noble phantasm. And at the very least, let's say he tries to steal Ea. At the very least, if he can't use Ea himself, he can stop Gil from using Ea. So that's the thing, right? So if Gil doesn't have Ea anymore, and first I'm not gonna presume that Heracles could use Ea, although I think he can, and I'm gonna tell you why in a second. But let's say he just steals Ea from Gil, and Gil cannot use Ea anymore. Well, then that creates a problem for Gil, because nothing else in his Gate of Babylon that we know of at the moment can stop this guy. The only thing that he could use, would have been able to use, would have been his chains, which have no effect on Heracles because he doesn't have any divinity. So as we know, like, you just by seeing the stats, we know that this guy, and just by knowing the lore of Heracles, we know that this guy is way better at close combat than Gil. So right now, Gil doesn't have Ea, and Heracles he can't stop Heracles by any other means in his arsenal that we know of. So, and Heracles definitely has the agility to get in close. So I'm trying to make it not sound so overkill, but Gil doesn't stand a chance, man. Like, there's no other way to put it. If he doesn't have Ea, he can't beat Heracles. Now, let's talk about the worst case scenario for Gil. There's two of them. There's two worst case scenarios for Gil. Now, the way reincarnation of Pandora works is that with Reincarnation of Pandora, he doesn't just take the noble phantasm from you. He doesn't just steal the noble phantasm. He steals the part of your past that includes that noble phantasm. Meaning, let's say if Ea had any restrictions as to why Heracles couldn't use it, well, that's overwritten, because his noble phantasm doesn't just steal Ea. He steals the part from your past that includes him having Ea. So for example, if Gil, let's talk about something that Gil used Ea for, something that we know of, which was, he wasn't alive when he did this. This was his servant version, but let's just assume that he was his live version. Remember when he used, and this is just an example, by the way. Remember when he used Ea to destroy Tiamat? Okay, so, and again, this was his servant version, I know this, but for the sake of the example, let's just say that this was him being alive. So, he uses Ea to kill Tiamat, right? So what happens is, when Reincarnation of Pandora is activated, and this guy takes Ea, what happens is this. So remember that moment where Gil used Ea to kill Tiamat? Well, when Pandora is activated, then in that moment, it wouldn't have been Gil using Ea, it would have been Heracles using Ea to destroy Tiamat. So you see what I'm saying? Like, even if Ea had some sort of like restriction as to where not anybody could use her, like, this dude bypasses it completely. So that would be the worst case scenario for Gil. And by the way, he does restrain from using this noble phantasm because of, like, since he's stealing part of another person's past, right? It does change his personality a bit, which is why he refrains from using it that often. So I gotta throw that out there. But what I'm saying is, with Eye of the Mind, he could predict Gil using Ea, and he knows that he can't take that attack. So he's gonna be forced to use it. He's gonna be forced to. So if Gil can definitely not tank Ea. He can tank Ea. Nobody can. So I don't think like he can tank air. So if Heracles has air, Gil's fucked. Now, the next case scenario, which I think is even worse, which is worse. Think about this. This scenario is worse than him taking air, and is this, right? So we know that Gil pulls air from the gate of Babylon, and air itself, it's not his noble phantasm. His noble phantasm, his actual noble phantasm, is the gate of Babylon. Now, this being said, imagine if Heracles steals the gate of Babylon. Imagine that. That would be like catastrophic for Gil. Like, that would be the worst case scenario. And like, Gil will pretty much be left powerless, completely powerless. If he steals the gate of Babylon from Gil, he's gonna be freaking powerless. And there's a lot of speculation whether he can or cannot do this, but we haven't seen anything that says that he can't. So that'll be the worst case scenario for Gil. Now, remember when they met, he told Gil, pull out your strongest weapon. So that tells me immediately that he is the type of person that likes a fair fight, because if he wasn't an honorable person, he could kill Gil immediately without Gil having a chance, just because, as we know, Gil doesn't go all out from the beginning, and Heracles is the type of servant that you would have to go all out from the beginning in order to be able to beat. And the reason is because Hydra's poison. Like, you only need a scratch and you're dead. So if Gil tries to put some of his like bullshit, like where, oh, I'm not taking you seriously, like you're not worth my time, like one scratch and you're dead. So obviously he needs to go all out from the beginning to even stand a chance against Heracles. And Heracles warns him of this. Pull out your strongest weapon. If not, you're gonna die. So with that being said, like, yes, he does have like some honor to him, but again, as I said, and also I did mention that he doesn't like to use Pandora's reincarnation of Pandora, because it changes his personality. But with Mind's Eye, he can predict whether he's gonna be forced to use it or not before he has to use it. So for example, if Gil decides to use Aya, right? If Gil decides to pull out Aya, he can predict that he won't be able to dodge or won't be able to tank Inuma Elish. He will predict this. Correct? He will predict this. And then since he's gonna predict this, then he just pretty much gonna steal it on the spot. So it's not like his personality is gonna get in the way, because it's gonna be like, oh, by the time he decides to use it, it'll be too late. Well, that counters, Eye of the Mind counters that, because he can predict ahead of time. So this is one of the guys that I think could definitely 100%, in my opinion, kill Gil. Now I do know that a lot of you guys love Gil and you have different opinions on Gil, and a lot of you guys are gonna defend Gil on this, but again, this is just my opinion. You can leave me your counterpoints in the comment section below. I would definitely love to check it out, and I would love to start a conversation. So if you think that Gil can beat Heracles, let me know how, and let's talk about it. Because honestly, this is one of the servants in this list that I'm pretty damn sure could beat Gil, just in my opinion, personal opinion. So please let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. I really appreciate it. Please comment in the comment section below your thoughts and any other suggestion, any other videos that you would like me to react to. I could never have too many of those. And as I always say, have a nice day, and catch you guys in the next one. Bye.